Good morning. I'm back with a tan. I luckily got to go spend time with some friends and I feel refreshed. And Sonia and I are both ready to blow Girl Powerful Q2 out of the water. And today we're talking to Claire Powers from KINdom, this beautiful, I see you on there. I'll wave. Hi, Sydney. Hi, Claire. And we're going to talk about just empowering our youth, making brands that mean something, that are sustainable for the earth and each other, and to live a healthy, happy life while we're all here together. So let me add. Hi, everyone. Hi, Emma. Hi, Monica. Hi, Sonia. Good morning.
It worked.
Good job.
Hi.
How are you? Do you like my shirt?
I love it. Gee, I wonder where you got it from.
Sure. Claire, will you introduce yourself to our community and just maybe remind your community who you are and what you're up to?
Sure. Hi. Just ran up and down the stairs real quick to get some water, so out of breath. Thank you again for hosting this IG Live. Super important, for all the girls, which is my first love, all these kids, the next generation. My name is Claire Powers. I'm the founder of KINdom. KINdom is actually my second sustainable brand. My first sustainable brand was in 2007, but the economy crashed in 2008, so it didn't really survive. But what's the common link or the common catalyst for me starting sustainable brands are children.
Yes.
So very near and dear to my heart. When my sister gave birth to the very first girl, in the family, I was holding her. She was about a week old, and my background is actually fast fashion. And I just had, this huge flashback inside my head of all the factories I've been to, the textile mills I've been at, and in my head it was like, I can't keep doing what I'm doing. I have to do better. This little girl is going to grow up. She's in high school now, and I want to make the world a better place for her. Didn't really happen because, like I said, in 2008 it was an economic setback for the whole world, or mostly us, maybe, I guess. And fast forward to 2017, I just had given birth, my first baby. I'm all hormonal. And I told my husband, I can't go back designing to fast fashion. Look at this, So I decided, I convinced him. He's also a creative. He understands what I wanted, in life as far as fulfillment is concerned. So we sold the house, started KINdom. And the whole premise behind it is the same, but more elevated as in the first brand, which is to not only have sustainable materials, but also work with compliant and ethical factories. And I'm glad the United Nations SDGs came out with the different goals. So I'm very happy to say that we satisfy on some of our products 15 out of those 17 development goals.
Oh, that's
yeah.
Yeah, we've actually had a lot of our friends, because of all the time at home the last year, having babies. And I can see a lot of their views on themselves, their health, their family's health, and the whole, all the ecosystem. Like, they're all changing kind of how they think. I think having opens your heart and opens your heart.
It does. It does. I have a girlfriend who had her baby early in life, and he's already had graduated college and everything. And she said, you know what? I got to tell you, my son saved me. And I didn't understand it until, somebody close to me, like my sister had her own baby and I had my own baby. So it's a whole new world. You know what I mean? I might spew out some Disney songs here and there. Okay.
Go Claire, go Claire. Like, you've been supporting Girl Powerful for a while. I just wanted to show you, everyone, that Claire helped support printing our book a couple years ago, and that meant the world to us. And I was just curious, like, why? I mean, I know why, but like, as a young girl, like, how did you feel about your self-esteem, and like, why are you so in tune with helping young girls and everyone just take care of themselves and lean into their self-care? Can you share about that?
Yes, and it might be a bigger picture than it is, so I'll try to condense it. I always grew up insecure. I mean, you know, when you're a kid, you're a kid, you just, you know, it's id, ego, and super ego, right? You're confident, you know what you do, and most kids are just, they know what they want. But as you get into elementary, junior high, and especially high school, then you start comparing yourself, you know, to other people. And as you know, that's the kind of work that you do to empower, especially young girls in marginalized communities, to give them confidence. And um, and I guess because of that situation, I empathize with other kids and people in general who have you know, self-esteem issues and whatnot. And in the bigger picture of that is the whole systemic racism. You know, you're brought up that you're not good enough and you're competing, like in my sense. I'll give you one example. I was designing for a French brand, a small boutique company, and I loved the owners. The guy, one of the partners, was so down to earth. He would go around, you know, taking everybody's trash from, you know, from their desk and throwing it out himself. I mean, I've never had any other company that I worked with that the owners did that to. You know, they were so cool. And then we were, you know, involved, you know, with their families, and they opened it up because, you know, we work, you know, our lives for this brand. And one time he said, oh, you know, you guys are working the weekend, let me bring down the kids and we'll help you. And then, you know, it was fun. He goes, okay, here's some cash. Why don't you go get some ice cream and take a break? So it's a weekend. So I'm wearing my shorts and my slippers in summertime in LA, and I take the kids, and we take our little break, and we run into one of the kids' classmates in school, and the mom goes, oh, are you the new nanny? And I was like, you know how many millions of dollars I made for this brand? I mean, I didn't go there, but that was in my hand. It was like, so, you know, this whole Asian hate, and you know, being non-white, it does give us a setback. And so it's important for me to help empower those around me, especially, you know, BIPOC, AAPI, LGBTQX. I always involve them in my business practice. And that's how I grew up. My parents were exactly the same thing, you know. It starts when, you know, the lessons you learn as a child.
Yeah. So is that what you're leaving, like, as your legacy to your kids? Like, being a good role model in the family? Like, what is your main thing at home that you're like, this is a non-negotiable, this is how we treat people? Can you share something like that?
Yes. I'm so totally blessed that I have a child, a preschooler, who's super compassionate, and her heart is so big, that's to a fault. And that's what a lot of adults are lacking today, right? And so I kind of got to go the other way around and rein that in, because while you need to be compassionate with other people and respect with other people, I mean, if you slash our skin, we all bleed red, right? It's the same. But you also have to protect yourself and empower yourself, because otherwise you're just going to be a doormat, you know?
Yeah, I know. I mean, I think it's so important for parents, for teachers, for positive neighbors and role models. Like, that's what Sonia and I always try to influence our kids, by being those people that see you outside of the home, because that's what tweens and teens feel like. If they're not seen outside of the home in a positive way by a coach or someone at school, that's where they find their confidence. So that's what we really like to lean into and celebrate small victories constantly, and give them the tools to take care of their skin and hygiene. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it's simple, but it's like, you have to take a shower and present yourself in a nice way, not because of looks, but because you
Yes.
feel better. You know,
Yes.
like putting these soft, nice clothes on that you gifted me, it's like, that feels good to me.
Yeah.
So how, like, when you're working with and creating these pieces, like, what are you drawn to? Because when you look at KINdom's website, it's bright and beautiful and alive, and there's not really like a little niche. Like, you're all over the place.
Yeah.
But like, I'd love to
I grew up with color. I grew up with pattern. Um, and as you know, a lot of indigenous communities, when you go all over the world, there a lot of them are, have a lot of patterns, geometric embroideries. I mean, that's how they express themselves. And some symbols that they weave into textiles, for example, are exclusive to nobility. I mean, they have like different meanings, and that I'm drawn to that. And I think that's why I want to focus more on working with indigenous textiles, and not only that, pairing them together and mixing them up with, dead stock textiles, because, to come with something new. And I think it's because also I like not to take life seriously because it's already serious. There's a place for when you need to get serious, but we also have to remember that, look, we're only here, if you don't believe in reincarnation, we're only here once. So why not have fun with it, but at the same time protecting people and the planet? I mean, we can do it, right?
Yeah, I was just actually in the Gulf of Florida, and everyone was wearing bright, hot colors and pastels, and like I only had white clothes for some reason, and I had, let's be real, I was in Miami and I had cheetah print, but I couldn't wear the cheetah print over in like the Pastelville, But it was like, this is fun. I was staying longer. I would definitely be buying some, just colorful, happy purples and teal.
Yeah.
I want to buy some new clothes. Why
Yeah.
do you think Americans, why have we like done that to ourselves to like want to fit in so much?
That's like a never ending discussion. And in my humble opinion, I think it's because, again, it goes back to hundreds and thousands of years of being controlled or oppressed, and say, okay, this is the way to do it. This is the correct way to do it. And when it comes to fashion, it has to be, okay, this is the trend. The trend is tie-dye. Everybody follow this. If you have something tie-dye, you're the coolest thing that happened in like the last year and a half, which is actually bad for the environment, because tie-dyes, they're chemicals, toxic chemicals that seep into the system, and they can cause cancer, infertility, and all kinds of stuff. I mean, I can't quote you on the actual percentage, but something like I read somewhere 70% or something like that of the river systems in China are contaminated.
Wow.
And that's not right. Human rights water, breathing clean air, having clean water should be just a basic human right. And I mean, I hate to bring in the whole systemic racism into it, but we've just been, and not just that, it's just in fashion, we followed like all these trends that kind of enslaved us in a way to, what's the word I'm looking for, to just keep on doing and harming ourselves the same way, because maybe of our insecurities of trying to fit into this perfect world that society has put up for us. But the beauty of it is, we're all different.
Yeah.
We're all the same inside, but our minds and our hearts and our experiences are different. And so, why not celebrate that? There's more benefits you have with diversity as a society than trying to keep everybody the same, I think.
Yeah, Sonia and I are both really drawn right now to this new spring energy and like coming out of our cocoon, and like I've even noticed like we're dressing a little differently, and we're just like being more happy and choosing to live a colorful, joyful life, because at the end of the day, like if you do have your mental health, and we're lucky enough to work constantly on staying, in control of that, you get to decide what your day looks like. You know what I mean?
Yes.
You get to decide, is this like going to be a bah humbug day, or am I going to just make the best of it? And
Yeah.
I think that even adding like pops of color and patterns, like it shows like the people you're with that, hey, I'm expressing myself, like you mentioned, and I have emotions, and I'm not just a robot person.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. We're not sheeple. We're not following
Mm-hmm.
same way. I mean, I was trained to, follow and research trends and come up with 200 designs like a month, and it's crazy. And now it's like, well, what's the point of trends? The point of trends is for somebody for a corporation, an entity, to capitalize on it and make money. That's the bottom line. But when you take that out, it's like really trends are like irrelevant. You know, you just express, you know, what you feel, how you feel. So I design based on what I feel. Like you said, it might look all over the place, but because I'm having fun with it. But that is the centralized concept behind it. It's fun. There's things that you can, you know, like, as you know, you can take out, make long sleeve instead of short sleeves. I have dresses that, you know, you can zip off and make into 3 different lengths. Have fun.
Yeah,
you know,
I've never seen anything like it. I think it's really fun and creative, and it shows like that you are truly an artist. So I'm really happy that you're doing what you want and putting out into the earth and like in people's eyes, like what you want to see. So thank you for doing that, Claire.
Thank you. Thank you for, you know, appreciating it.
For sure.
I was worried for a while. I'm like, oh my God, is there going to be a market for this? It's kind of crazy, but.
What is that? Well, what is that looking like for you? I feel like female founders and founders in general always come on, you know, interviews and they act like everything's the best and everything's perfect and no one's authentic and raw. That like, yeah, last year was really hard. Like no one needed new clothes and people just want to wear sweatpants.
Yeah.
So what are we going to see from KINdom in the next quarter? Because it is the next quarter coming up in a couple days.
Yes. Well, in luckily for me, in hindsight, in the end of 2019, because I always, every year I try to, at the end of the year, I try to always kind of reflect of what happened in the last year and what can I do to make it better. And to me, my barometer is the SDG goals, the United Nations SDG goals. What can I do better, you know, to hit those goals? And one of them was like, well, I really shouldn't be, even though I do small scale production, I don't do thousands of pieces per style. I was down to like 50, 60 pieces per style, a couple hundred pieces per style. That's still a lot. I decided at the end of 2019, that's, you know what, it doesn't make sense either. It doesn't make sense. I should just go back and work some more with the tribes, hand woven, bespoke, artisan textiles, and use what I already have. Why am I going to create more fabric and you know, expend more energy where we already have goods out there? We were in a Zoom seminar, not really a seminar, but a Zoom meeting with a discussion about circular economy and circular design. And there's like a whopping, and again, don't quote me on it, X trillion clothes that's in existence in the planet today. I mean, trillions. So why are we making more, right? So in 2000, going back, that's a long story to get to my point, sorry. I decided in 2019, you know, to stop production and just do like, you know, 1 to 6 to 12 pieces of a style at the most, upcycling what we already have out there, and using indigenous textiles, because, you know, if there's anybody who needs support, it's those communities that need help and resources to keep and preserve their ancient traditions alive. I mean, that's where we came from, right?
And how are you finding those artisans? How are you traveling and finding them, or how are you introduced to?
Well, well, before the pandemic, I was traveling a lot, and thank God for, you know, the internet and social media and connections, and that's how I found all my connections, just going around and scrolling and searching for, you know, indigenous textiles, people who work with indigenous communities. There's a lot of co-ops out there, so they're out there.
Oh,
they're out there.
Yeah, I'm excited for you. I think that, I mean, when you put on, they feel really good, and I think that that's a big part of wearing clothes, and also to, yeah, be expressive. And I'm excited. I'm glad you re-inspired me to get even freakier with it. Why not?
We need to get off one day, and we need to go through your closet, and I'll tell you which pieces you need, what you don't need, and so.
Yeah, I think that especially like being around the girls, like I think that would be a really good way to role model like creativity and confidence too, like showing up like with what I truly want to be wearing, not
Mhm.
always. Then I totally get trends. But let's be super real, Claire. In the past of your whole career, what is one trend you actually really did like?
Oh, good question. I don't know.
You've
I
all,
don't, you know what? I don't really know because in my past life, the trends went by so fast in fast fashion that when you're done designing it, and by the time it goes in production in the stores, it's old to you and you're already on to the next. So nothing really stays. And that's the problem with it being not sustainable, because it's not staying. So like Ursula de Castro from Fashion Revolution said, love clothes last. You know, the most sustainable thing is in your wardrobe right now. But the I guess if you can call it a trend that I love right now is mending and repairing your old clothes. Like I'm super obsessed with, you know, when you scroll through and you see like a time lapse video of somebody darning, you know, their sweater, you know, stuff like that. Like that would be a great
yeah, I love,
um some activity to have with the girls, for instance, how to darn, how to mend, how to patch holes in your jeans. I mean,
yeah.
we use, our grandmothers used to teach us this stuff, but it's a lost art, but that's how we're gonna become sustainable going forward.
Like the fact that a lot of Gen Zers like to go thrift shopping. That's a great trend,
Yeah.
right?
I mean, I remember growing up when you're in school and somebody said, "Oh, that's where'd you get that dress?" Oh, and you're embarrassed, like, "Oh, well, I hand me down, oh, thrifted." You know, it's and now it's like, and I'm glad that that mind shifted. Yeah, it's like, oh, it's the coolest thing because you know why? Because it's different.
Mm.
Everything has been the same, and you're following, like we were talking about earlier, it's the same trend, or it's the same, you know, style that's out there. Like how many sweatshirts, you know, can you know, put out and buy every year when you have other sweatshirts already in your closet, you know? And you make it your own. If it starts falling apart, little cold, right?
I love that, Claire. I think those are great reminders, and I needed them, and we all need them. So,
Yeah.
people find KINdom and tell them that exciting news about Women's History Month and International Women's Day and how you are donating to Girl Powerful.
Well, as we talked about earlier, for those of you who missed, children, babies, especially babies, and the next generation, and making sure they're, you know, growing up with the right tools, mentally, emotionally, physically, they're all very near and dear to my heart. Um, and by helping and supporting organizations like Girl Powerful Project, you know, it really helps those girls, you know, develop the tools that they need for the challenges they're going to experience growing up. I mean, with my own insecurities and challenges growing up as, you know, AAPI or a BIPOC person, it's, you know, whatever we can help, you know, to get those girls become confident, empowered, and deal with those challenges, the better. So for the whole month of March. It used to be like just a week, right? For the
Yeah.
just a week, but now it's like for the whole month of March. And so you have y'all, you have like one more week or so to go shopping. You know, part of the proceeds will be benefiting Girl Powerful Project, and they can put programs and activities together for all these marginalized girls in all these marginalized communities, at Promise Youth, and create these activities and help them build and become the next Kamala Harris or the next Deborah Haaland, right? Oh my God, I was like celebrating when she got confirmed. Amazing, amazing. And that's what we need. And the Dalai Lama, I don't remember the quote, but he said recently that he noticed that the leaders of nations, and don't quote me on it, it's something to this effect, okay? Something like the leaders of nations that are more um, um, progressive as far as nurturing and helping, you know, their constituents and their population going forward, have leaders who are female. And Forbes magazine came up with a study last year, or not published, and talked about a study that came out that the leaders of nations who had COVID-19 controlled first were nations and countries that had female leaders, like the one in New Zealand. So I think because of our nurturing innate quality, that kind of, you know, helps the world become a better place. And that's kind of what we need right now, is empathy and compassion, right?
It definitely is something that we need in our leadership, you know, to zoom out and see all kinds of people, not just ourselves or not just our little circle. And I think capable of doing that. And it's exciting to see so many people changing the world. We have a long way to go, but we're little by little chipping away goals. But so what is your website?
The website is kindomshop.com. www.kin, because we're kin, we're connected, we're related. KINdom, without the G, KINDOM shop, SHOP as in Paul, or Patricia, .com.
Okay, I wanted to pull a Girl Powerful card for you. I always do this with people on our Instagrams.
Okay.
Beautiful. And I think you have a money tree right behind you. Am I right?
Yes. Yes, I do.
Well, that's funny. You got something like that.
Oh!
It says, I am abundant. Repeat for 15 minutes a day. So it's like a meditation for you. Money flows to me and surrounds me. My needs are always met. And then we tell the girls, the more often you say this, the more real it becomes. Mm-hmm. And I think affirmations like that, especially with our underserved youth, are so important for them to be able to, you know, be in tune with their mind and their heart at the same time, and close their eyes and not have to see what their reality might be then. And have a big, bright new world and set goals to get there.
Yes. And I thank you for what you do, because you're really, you know, making these girls realize, I'm going to start crying. Oh my God, you're making them realize that whatever society right now tells them, or these, you know, when one day when they do try to get into, you know, an Ivy League school or in certain corporations, that's not reality. Your reality is you can break that glass ceiling and, you know, reach for the stars. Yeah. And it's been done. So we can do it.
I think, it's important for girls to see all kinds of women just living their truth like we all are, and finding value in ourselves in a different place, instead of only in the boardroom or only wearing a suit or only, you know, staying home. But I think that's fine to totally be a mom. It's like part of why we're here. But you know, like, it's like everyone needs to stop comparing, like you mentioned in the beginning, and start living and do what you want, because everyone's truth is a little different in their core. And like, that's why you need to be able to share your emotions, connect with like-minded people, but then also open your eyes to people that aren't exactly like you. And learn and unlearn.
Yes, you're absolutely right. Absolutely right.
Let's do this again. We could probably talk for hours, but it's
I know.
And again, everyone, go check out KINdom Shop. They're donating to Girl Powerful for the next week, and we appreciate you so much.
Thank you. Appreciate you too. Thank you for doing what you do.
And then our card deck that we pulled from is at girlpowerful.org, and our book still. We're working on a second book. So
let me know.
Stay tuned. Thank you so much, Claire.
Thank you. Bye.